quite okay. Hello, everyone. How we got for an audience? Thanks for joining. And I'm really delighted to join you all. And I know we're live streaming. Should I start? Or Catherine, would you like to do an introduction?
Sure. Yeah, I think we're live streaming right now, actually. So yeah, this is one of our first of many workshops by our sponsors of HackMIT. So I'd love to welcome from IBM, John Walicki. So please go ahead.
Great. Thank you all. Hopefully you see my screen. And so we're here today to talk about IBM joining HackMIT. Really delighted to be here. My name is John Walicki. Now, this is not the first time that I've presented and mentored up at MIT. I've done Make MIT and multiple Hack MITs and went and I dug, and I've got hundreds of t-shirts from hackathons all across the country and actually all around the world. So I went and found a few. So there's a 2018, I think, and a 2019 t-shirt. I still sweatshirt I still use. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get swag for the mentors this year because I can't join you all live in person. But we're going to talk about how to get support from the IBM team. I'm really excited. So hopefully, for the next 45 minutes, we are going to talk about Call for Code and the IBM Climate Change Challenge and some of the resources available to you to actually be able to build and win some prizes. We'll talk about the prize as well. So towards that end, you probably want to know who John Walicki is. And I'm an IBM developer advocate. I mentor at hackathons. I speak at conferences. I write tutorials. I'm a senior developer. I work with our clients all around the world on some of their hardest problems. My expertise is in IoT and Edge, AI, IBM Cloud, Kubernetes, and a whole variety of cloud native technologies. I love to build with developers solutions that help fix their problems. I'm quite passionate, if you can't tell, about helping developers, especially the next generation of developers, build really cool stuff. So I'm pretty excited that IBM's part of this up at MIT. And this is not our first day at IBM at MIT. There's those of you hopefully that have been on campus more than a week or two. Welcome to Boston. But you will find that MIT IBM AI Lab is an institution and a research lab right on campus. So you will see more of that from over your career at MIT. So the prize is sponsored by both the MIT AI Lab and the IBM developer ecosystem. So I'm part of the IBM developer team. And we've got, you'll meet, I think, in a couple of days on Saturday morning, you will meet my colleague, John Cohn. And John's an IBM fellow. He is the IBM mad scientist. And you will, if you've ever met John, you will remember John. He likes to blow things up. He, I think, gets in trouble at MIT every year because he brings his scooter and his Van de Graaff, and he likes to make things explode. And so do look for John on Saturday morning because he just brings a tremendous amount of energy to the event. And he's an MIT alumni. He actually was part of, so here he is. So we've been at MIT a lot. And so I went and I scrolled back in my Twitter feed, several thousand posts. And I found this one. So this one is from HackMIT 2019. And John Cohn, I think, took the stage. There's John talking about the MIT IBM Watson AI Lab. And see, he was an alumni from MIT, go way back, just a couple of years. All right, so we are going to talk about a few other things. So we were, get this out of my way here. Sorry, a little Zoom sharing was in my way. So we've got some prizes, and I wanted to talk about the IBM Challenge and make sure you all are aware of the prizes for if you choose to build and submit a project this weekend towards the IBM prize. So this is an old photo, but I thought it was worthy. And so we do have some prizes. So first prize is $1,500. Second prize, so this is split amongst the team members of that are winning. Second prize for the IBM Challenge would be $750, and for third prize, $500. So split amongst your teammates. And so what is the challenge? Let's go take a look at that. So we've got a call for code challenge. I'm going to introduce you to call for code, and it's really around climate change. We want you to build a solution that meets in 3 different categories. You get to choose clean water and sanitation, zero hunger, and really around recycling and improving consumption and recycling production. So those 3 categories around climate change, and you do have to use one IBM service that sort of makes you qualified for the IBM Challenge. I'm going to tell you how to get an account in just a couple of minutes. We're going to do remote judging because although John will be available to answer some of your questions, the mentor team that I've assembled and John has assembled will be remote. So you'll have to use Gather to come and chat with us, and we'll be online ready to answer your questions. I've lined up some true experts that hopefully will be able to guide you through the challenge. Okay, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about call for code before I jump too far. And so the question is, what is call for code? So IBM about 4 years ago decided that we wanted to build a tech for good challenge. And so every year we've been running a $200,000 challenge. It runs typically from March until end of July, where you submit your solutions. And then we're in the middle of judging right now for the 2021 challenge. And in October and November, we announced the regional winners and then the grand prize winner in mid-November. So call for code, tech for good. First 2 years were natural disasters. So trying to improve, not so much, you can't prevent a natural disaster, but we can improve help the victims and survivors of natural disasters. And then 2 years ago, we changed it to include climate change, because we know how important climate change is to all of us. And we bring a whole set of resources to help you do that. So the weather company is an IBM product, IBM division. And so we've got a whole set of APIs that you can use and I've got some great examples I'll show you in a couple of minutes that really allow you to use some of the weather services, the historical data, the current data, some forecast data. I've got examples that can do radar and weather maps, and also almanac data and historic data that helps you in your climate change challenge. So the mission of Call for Code is, and it's not just IBM, it's was actually founded by the David Clark cause, and IBM's a founding partner. Well, we've got some great partners with us. So the United Nations Office for Humanitarian Aid, and the Linux Foundation, and a whole variety of really wonderful partners have leaned in with us. Now, what's really cool about Call for Code is not just that we give you a $200,000 check, it's that we help you, once you're a winner, to turn your project into an open source project. And we partner with the LF, the Linux Foundation, to make that sustainable. So we want your projects to live on and actually make a big impact. And we bring IBM resources to help you once you're a winner. Now, that was a global challenge. for the hackathon this weekend, you get some prizes and hopefully get some ideas for next year's challenge. All right, so do look for that. And we've got some great open source projects that have been built over the last couple of years that we continue to invest in with the teams. The IP is yours. We want you to open source it, but we want to turn those great ideas and projects into something sustainable that makes a difference in the tech for good world. All right, enough about Call for Code. We've built and assembled a whole variety of resources to help you do that. I noticed that there's some chat. Let me go find the chat here. I wanted to drop some resources and links in the chat. Hopefully that lets us. So first thing, I want you to be able to sign up for Call for Code and the IBM Challenge. So do I need permission to chat here? No? All right, maybe. See if that comes through for everyone. That come through? See, there are 9 chats. There we go. It was in the window way over here. All right, when you go and get yourself an account, you will get yourself an IBM Cloud account, because if you want to build with IBM Cloud and enter the challenge, you will need an IBM Cloud account. So do get yourself, and the URL I just posted in the chat, but for those of you that are following along, you go to ibm.biz, HackMIT 2021. That will expand to a login, if you don't yet have an account, you can create one. But if you do, you can log in already. We do have some credits for you. On Saturday, we can give out some promo codes. It's like a $200 worth of usage and a free time. So you'll be able to build with IBM Cloud. All right, so that's how to sign up. IBM.biz, HackMIT 2021. And then once you log in, you'll be able to start to hack. We've assembled a whole variety of resources. Let me go drop in. Let's see. I see John Cohn is in our chat. John, I can't wait for you to stand on stage and introduce yourself to the teammates. If you just joined, John, you remember this. This was great. Just so much energy that we were 2 years ago. And we're hoping to be back next year for sure. But for this year, we sent John to be on stage and sort of socially distanced from everyone else. But the rest of the IBM team will be remote. All right, so when we get to support, we want you to go and find some resources. And we've got some tips and tutorials and a whole variety of resources available on developer.ibm.com. We've got and I put it in one place, Upcar Litter. You'll meet Upcar on Saturday night. We've got a workshop planned. I think it's at 10 p.m. I'll do a quick commercial for Upcar. He's going to join us from California, and he'll probably run through a whole variety of resources here. I'm going to give you a preview of it. So what is IBM Cloud? How to sign up? Yes, it's free. Some free resources and a trial account. You get $200 in credits. And then we've got a number of learning journeys that you can build with, particularly around machine learning and some of the Watson AI services. I'm going to talk about those for a couple of minutes as well. So if you're going to build with machine learning, IBM and Watson AI have been investing for now a decade almost. I think in 2013, we played Jeopardy. And if you remember, IBM Watson, the supercomputer, played with Alex Trebek and some of the winners from prior Jeopardy challenges. And it won. It won because it had really good natural language processing and really great natural language understanding. And so we were able to parse, listen to Alex, translate the question, text to speech to text, do a deep search, parse that sentence, find an answer, press the physical button, and then text to speech, respond with the answers. And so we've got a number of resources to help with natural language understanding, a really strong set of deep learning capabilities with NLU and NLP. Then we took that, because what do you do with NLU and NLP? Well, you want to build a chatbot, make that chatbot natural so that humans can interact with computers. And so our chatbot service is called Watson Assistant. We've got a whole variety of builder. So you build your Q&A set of services. You train the Watson AI model on your questions. And then humans, they come and ask, they don't ask exactly what you typed in as your question. And we actually parse that NLU and then match the most appropriate question and give that answer back to the user. So that's Watson Assistant. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes as well. We've got some visual recognition services. I'll show you how to train an AI model with a Jupyter Notebook and TensorFlow. We've got some examples with PyTorch as well. And then we, of course, have a variety of Jupyter Notebooks and machine learning instances you can spin up in IBM Cloud. It's called Watson Studio. I'll introduce you to Watson Studio in a couple of minutes. You, of course, can store data in IBM Cloud. So we have cloud object storage and a whole variety of relational databases and NoSQL databases, Cloud and MongoDB and others. And then we can deploy your service on IBM Cloud. We've got a number of application runtimes, so infrastructure and platform as a service. So you might want to deploy to a Kubernetes cluster or to OpenShift, or to our latest one is a Knative. So you just give us your Docker container and we spin it up and run it in a cloud URL. And I basically do quite a bit of my work local. I build a container and then I push that container to a container registry service. And I tell IBM Cloud Code Engine, here, just deploy my container. And I've got a website up on IBM Cloud in about 5 minutes. So that's the runtimes are fantastic. So do take advantage of that. We've got tons of examples: Python, Node, Java, Go, Swift. They're all available in the catalog I'll show you in a moment. There are all a variety of climate change resources. So if you want to submit for our challenge, do take advantage of some of the climate resources. I put together with some teams a number of starter kits to help you get going. So do take a look at those. All right, so let's scroll down. I'll make you dizzy for a minute. Wanted to go hit a few of them. Oh, I've talked about all of them. Oh, so everywhere you go on IBM Cloud, you will find docs and demos and APIs and how to call it, little sidebar to, exercise the service, exercise the API, how to, construct in Java or Python or Node, and then not take that little code snippet and put it into your project. I didn't talk about AutoAI. This is brilliant. So the whole concept of AutoAI is we don't always know which model is going to best fit your data. So what AutoAI does is it actually runs a whole variety of models and then helps you pick the right one based on your data sets. And so it actually runs them all in parallel and comes back with sometimes what it thinks the best results are. So do take advantage of AutoAI. Storage, Cloudant, object storage. I talked about the runtimes. I think I always forget C#, but you can do that. So you can deploy right from your laptop if you want to. I do quite a bit of Code Engine, like I mentioned, but we also have Cloud Foundry. All right. A whole variety of rapid prototyping services. So Node-RED, those of you that have played with Node-RED, it's really simple. I built tons of my examples with Node-RED. So it's a palette of nodes built on top of JavaScript and Node.js, and you can wire together a node application in a very small amount of time. I built rapid prototype, build a dashboard, especially for a hackathon. Great set, build fast, fail early type of thing with Node-RED. We've got a number of starter kits I mentioned. Let's just go there. I worked on this clean water one, and I had so much. So we've got a lot of this stuff in, it redirected me. We'll fix the link here, but they're actually available since the global challenge is closed. The starter kit link is a redirect now, but not to be deterred, I do have that call for code. There's a whole variety of resources in open source. And let's just go to repositories and let's scroll down to, oh, it's going to take me pretty far. I'm going to search for the clean water one. Sorry to make you all dizzy. Next page. Since it's all open source, so we're going to come back and talk about some of the weather APIs, earthquakes, racial justice, really important set of topics, wildfires. You kind of get the theme here. There it is. That's the one I was trying to look for. So we've got some starter kits for clean water and sanitation, also zero hunger and recycling. And what you can find in this tutorial is a set of videos and links and design thinking around how to go attack this problem, right? If you're looking for ideas for your challenge, this is a great place to start, sort of get your creative juices with your new teammates together. You only have a small amount of time, so do take advantage of some of the starter kits. All right, so I see that Salvatore is having trouble, cannot be created at this time. So if you use, Salvatore, if you used IBM.biz, HackMIT 2021, that should be a whitelisted URL. You shouldn't be locked out, but we can work with you afterwards and happy to help you get an account. All right, so go get the links that I'm kind of scrolling through. That's Upcar's links. He'll talk more about it on Saturday night. All right, so let's dive in here. So now you've learned about the call for code and some of our resources. Let's get you up. Let's log in to IBM Cloud. And so I've sort of already created an account and I've logged myself in. And the first thing I typically do is I jump up to the masthead and I go to the catalog. And now I'm just going to talk about some of the AI ones, but there are like 195 different services available in IBM Cloud, way more than we have time to talk about because it's platform as a service and infrastructure as a service and bare metal servers and OpenShift and Kubernetes and a whole variety of services and third-party services that you can wire together in the IBM Cloud. But I'm just going to focus on the machine learning category. And so let's go take a look. I'm going to zoom back in. So I'm going to talk about Watson Assistant and Watson Studio. Those are two most popular ones for sure. But do not forget that we've got NLU and language translator, speech to text, text to speech. And then we've got some great starter kits. Very often you want to build an NLU plus a Node app. Well, we've got one for you. Click 2 minutes and it's up and running. Now you're just hacking at your Node app versus building a lot of skeleton frameworks. Tone analyzer. So one of the things that you can do with NLU is get back a whole variety of emotional tones around not just the keywords in the text and the speaker, but you actually can find out a little bit about their personality and whether they see this as positive or negative, the tone that they take, joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness. So those are some of the 5 basic emotions, and our NLU services can extract that and give you insights so that you can adjust your, if you're building a chatbot, maybe you want to take different approaches if someone is fearful or someone is angry, and you can adjust your path through the chatbot. Okay, so do take advantage of some of the text analytics skills that we've got. Let's go take a look at Watson Assistant for a minute. So you can very quickly hit the create button. You create an instance of it. It's free. You can deploy it all around the world. I think we've got data centers in the US. We have them in Washington, DC, Toronto, Dallas, and then of course around the world in Europe and Asia Pacific and Australia as well. So those of you joining from not just MIT, do find a data center close to you and deploy your services there. The free tier is free, and so do take advantage. Of course, there's some quotas and caps, but for a weekend hackathon, don't worry about it. You'll do just great. You want to, of course, learn how to build, and we've got a nice dialogue engine to build your chatbot. We kind of have some great tutorials in IBM Developer to help you walk through your chatbot service. There's the locations that it's deployed to. But the cool thing is that we've got API docs and examples here. So do take advantage of some of the examples. I built one. I took the CDC guidelines last year for COVID-19. I turned it into a chatbot, and we were answering questions for, trying to make sure everyone was fact-based and scientific decisions. The best place to go is the CDC guidelines, and we turned that into a Watson Assistant chatbot. And then we embedded that into a variety of web applications and mobile apps. Great, easy example. All right, so once you've spun yourself up a Watson Assistant, you sort of build with it. Let me see if I've got that here. So you can very quickly embed your chatbot into a Python app or a Node app or a Java application or Go. You can even exercise it on the command line. So we kind of let you, and we give you examples here of how to do that with curl and with Java. So you could just drop your snippet, grab it here, drop it into your code, and put in your API keys and up and run with it. Okay, and then we've got endpoints all around the world. You want your latency to be really responsive to your users. All right, so once I've done that, I've got a whole variety of services already built, and I'm going to just do a quick flyby because I know my time is running short. Cloud Foundry, that sort of a legacy technology at this point, maybe 5, 6, 7, very mature set of tools to help you build and deploy to a platform as a service. More recently, we've got something called Code Engine. So those of you that are familiar with Knative, this service builds on top of Knative. And so you just give it a Docker file, and it just spins it up for you, Knative. And so it scales to 0. So 0 costs when it's off. And then when you actually need it, it can spin up multiple instances as your load increases, and very quickly handle internet scale apps. So Code Engine, super cool, modern DevOps pipelines, cloud native techniques. I've sort of moved all my work now to Code Engine. More traditionally, OpenWhisk and IBM Cloud Functions, again, a serverless set of APIs built on OpenWhisk. And of course, if you need a Kubernetes cluster, We do have in the trial code that we give you, you get one for 30 days, pretty small Kubernetes cluster if you need one. And obviously OpenShift clusters built on top of Red Hat technology really lets you, not available in the free tier, but really lets you take, not just run an IBM Cloud, but run on AWS and Azure and other cloud offerings, other hyperscalers. You can deploy and take your OpenShift Helm charts and Tecton pipelines. IBM Cloud Satellite. So if you're an enterprise customer, you want to be hybrid cloud, on-prem cloud offerings. And so IBM Cloud Satellite really lets your enterprise do that. Again, not available in the free tier. And a whole variety of bare metal infrastructure types of things, probably not worthy of a hackathon, but certainly as you scale up to your solutions. All right, well, we've got blockchain and mobile apps and all sorts of container registry services. And, I get all excited about this stuff. And if you want to build with quantum, awesome, right? Run some workload on a quantum computer for free. How cool is that? All right, so I've been doing a variety of work with Code Engine. I use the CLI quite a bit. You can also do it right from the set of web panels. Makes it pretty simple. Spin up, spin down, scale to 0, fractions of a CPU, how much memory, all of that is easily configurable right from Code Engine. Now I want to talk about Watson Studio and IBM Cloud Pak for Data. So this is the machine learning platform. So I also free. You get it available in the free tier. So you'll be able to spin up a small machine learning. I don't think you get a very big GPU, but certainly get started with Jupyter notebooks. And so log in with that account that you created. And I think I already did. So I logged in already. All right, it's pretty small here. And so I've built a lot of different, weather related data analysis. I've got a personal weather station on my roof. I live in New Jersey. Rained a lot 2 weeks ago, a week ago. My neighborhood flooded. I was dry. My rooftop weather station, 7.5 inches of rain. Crazy. Built a model with American Sign Language. I'm going to show you this one here. This is a whiskey tasting. They actually pay me to do this, guys. I trained a model to detect whiskey bottles, sniffers, and whiskey barrels. And so I went up to Jupyter Notebook, I grabbed a Jupyter Notebook, and I collected a variety of images that I'm going to build a image classification model with. And I'm just going to scroll through this fast. I uploaded all of that data to IBM Cloud Object Storage. I gave it a set of API keys. And let's just scroll. So I had about 30 images of bottles and barrels and tumblers. And I trained a model. This is on top of ImageNet. And I got back a bunch. So I'm only doing the last couple of layers. And I'll just scroll down and show you some results here. I get the CNN and how it's doing. So the model continued to be accurate. So one thing you don't want to do is overtrain your models. And so it does a quick analysis of whether your model's doing good. If it starts to drop, you gave it some bad data along the way in your training set. All right, so then I wanted to make some predictions. So, this particular Ranger Creek is a Texas distillery. And so I grabbed some of their bottles, and sure enough, with 94.9% accuracy, my AI model decided that it was a bourbon bottle. I did that with barrels, and with 99% confidence, it thought that was a barrel. And then I gave it a tumbler, and so the model was a little bit lower there, 71%, maybe because it almost looked like a barrel, but you never know, right? That's the whole point of testing your models. So the reason I tell you this story is Watson Studio is really easy to train with object detection models, image classification, and a whole variety of bring your Jupyter notebook and some Python or R, Spark, and use some of the AI libraries. Okay. And that's sort of the world of Watson Studio. I want to talk about the weather company. So we've got, let me drop this link in to our chat here. And so I wrote a blog just a little while ago about the weather company APIs. And so obviously climate change and weather, very tightly coupled. Call for code, obviously that's our Tech for Good theme this year and at the MIT hackathon. Last year, we gave a prize out to a team that did agriculture. They used the weather company APIs to help with subsistence farmers. But you can go and get yourself, if you scroll to the bottom, get yourself an API. I actually dropped this blog post in too, because the blog post is really useful. I've got a whole variety. So what do you get when you get an API key for the weather company? Well, we've got a whole set of normal forecast models. So you can kind of go and tell me about the weather, the nowcast, the lightning strikes, the forecast for John's backyard. We can actually predict out 15 days. So take advantage of the current conditions and the enhanced forecast models. Those APIs are available in other data packages. You plug in your API key, and I've got some examples that you can build with. We also pull all the National Weather Service alerts, so severe thunderstorms and flooding and beach advisories and maritime advisories, all available in the severe weather package. And then I've got get yourself a key. Pretty simple. The key is valid until the end of November. Whole ton of documentation in Swagger docs and Open API docs. So go take advantage of those. I got a little curl example here that you can do the nowcast for Ridgewood, New Jersey, where I live. It tells you the 15-minute forecast. Sort of clever. And then I just list a few of them here that might be of interest to you. So the monthly almanac and the weather alerts and the forecast and the power disruption API and tropical forecasts, etc. Get yourself a key. I've got a number of examples in Node, Node-RED, and Python. And so there's a whole ton there. So I got some GitHub repositories for that build. If you jump over to my GitHub repo, you will find all sorts of stuff I build. I love to, I'm trying to get this to everyone. There we go. So if you go to my Git repository, which I think is the next link. Oh, here's some way to get your key. So you go and agree to the terms and you get your key right there. Do have to log in with an IBM Cloud account so we know that you're entitled. If you go to my Git repository, you're going to find blockchain and Node-RED and IBM Edge Application Manager. I've got some IoT and MQTT resources. There's one that builds radar maps, weather maps. That was kind of clever. This one was kind of clever because I combined the here APIs and the weather APIs. And so what you want to know is if you're going to route a truck from A to B, you want to know what the weather is. And so you'll notice maybe that the color of this little example here, imagine who I was presenting to. And so you type in your start location, your end location, and if there's a storm coming, you want to route that delivery truck away from the storm. And so this was an example. Now, Google Maps sort of does that, true, but it doesn't have the weather company API. So I overlaid, see what I did there? Pretty clever, right? I overlaid the weather map and the routing map together. So cool little example. And I've got a tutorial on that in my Git repository. All right, so I'm going to end. I've got like 2 minutes left. I'm going to tell you a story because I want you to win a hackathon. And so I do lots of events and I want to share my little tips because I judge as well. So you've got 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to convince the judges that you should win $1,500. First thing you need to do is describe the problem that you're trying to solve, right? Tell me a story, make the judge cry, right? You want to pull them in, make it sort of a very personal story about your solution. Give me a demo your code. I want to see, not just can you tell me a story, what did you build? And talk about your technology implementation. What tools did you use? What did you learn, right? Show me your code, right? Be proud of what you built over the hackathon. And then at the event, at the end, tell me what you can do next with your code. Is it a throwaway or are you going to build, maybe make it open source, build a community around it, right? So there you go. That's how to win a hackathon in about 8 steps. And I think my time is up. What's really fun, so you guys can follow me on Twitter if you're interested. Find me on Twitter at John Wallachy. And yes, John, we want to make the judges cry. But do follow me on Twitter. I love, and I talk about and I tweet about cloud technologies and AI and IoT. I stay on message. You won't find political statements by me anywhere in my tweets. And so there I am. I'm going to actually do an event in person at the end of September. Really excited. So today, earlier, I took this snapshot and tweeted it, going out to the Open Source Summit in Seattle at the end of the month. The first time out of my house, I think, in about 1.5 years. But it's going to be good. I can't wait till next year when we're up in Boston together in Cambridge. And do take advantage of the IBM Challenge. Find John Cohn on Saturday afternoon, and he will steer you in the right direction. Thank you, everyone. And then back to you, Catherine, and the MIT organizers. Good luck this week. Good luck over the weekend. Find me on Gather.
Thank you, John, for all of that, introducing the challenge and talking to us about all the resources that IBM is providing. Yeah, and thank you to everyone who came out and joined the Zoom here. Yeah, and please do show up at our other Hack Week events. There will be one happening later tonight and more happening as the week goes on. So do look out for those as well. Yeah, and big thank you again to John Wallachy and John Cohn for coming, and look out for the IBM booth at HackMIT.